You used to talk so much. What happened? You ask me this and I don't know what to say at first. And so instead I ask you, have you ever tried to taste the quiet? No, you tell me. Okay, well, I say, have you ever reached your fingers forward in a field full of flowers and pulled them back, bloodied and ripped by thorns? No, you tell me. I can't say I have. Okay, well, I continue, have you ever tried to listen to what the static sounded like? Have you noticed how it seemed to ring within itself? Tell me, has it slowly become the background noise to your entire life? Tell me, is it you or is it just me? Tell me, is that you? Is it? Oh, sorry, I'm rambling. Do you feel the same way? No, you tell me. I can't say I have. Okay, I try again. Well, tell me, can you describe to me what the nothing seems to look like? What the presence of absence is to you? Tell me, have you ever smelled a vacuum? As you gather yourself to answer these questions, I already get my reply. You don't know what to say. You don't have the answers to these questions. I hope you never do. You see, there was a time when I didn't have any of these answers too, when I thought these questions were just as weird as you do. You see, there was a time when I spoke without the fear of never being heard. You see, there was a time when I moved so freely, every movement of mine was a song. There was a time when the air didn't seem like it was trying to mend my bones into a tribute for the abandoned. You see, there was a time when my own words and stammer and stutter and rumble and break within themselves because I had enough confidence to pull them out from my throat and present them to the air. You see, there was a time when my own stillness and quietness wasn't so disturbing. But when the world seems like it belongs to you, you don't chase after people to carve doormats onto their heads. Trust me, people don't really seem to like that. And so slowly you'll learn how the ringing of a slamming door sounds as people close it again and again and again in your face, because no one really wants to be your home. No one wants to belong to you. You don't belong to anyone. You see, you'll begin to learn how the quietness seeps into you. You begin to learn how isolation isn't a term reserved for those stuck in the middle of oceans. You see, you begin to learn how people seem to have mistaken the rain for being an excuse for your mood and not the falling of everything. You see, you begin to notice how everything seems to be collapsing in itself. You begin to learn how of the irony of how you were born alone, how you will die alone, and yet the concept and the mere thought of being alone for the rest of your life is so excruciatingly painful. You see, crowds aren't just groups of people anymore. They're a constant echo, reminding you of how lonely you are. You're so lonely. You're so lonely. You see, can you see it? My body doesn't curve within itself because it's trying to be the end of your question. I curl within myself because I'm trying to convince my body that if there's no other place where it can find love, it can find love within me. Because no one's willing to give it to me. You see, I taught my lips how to fall in love with the hum and the breaking of words within them because no one else seems to understand them. You see, every time I tried to present them to the air, they reached up, they fell, they crashed, and no one caught them. They found nothing worth falling for. You see, being lonely isn't very fun. You see, sometimes I've watched and I have noted how friends turn from friends to acquaintances to strangers, from acquaintances to strangers, from friends to acquaintances to strangers, over and over and over and over again. And eventually, I don't know the difference between my friends and strangers. You see, I know how annoying it is that I want you to build a puzzle. I want you to expel the puzzle. I want you to see my picture. But I'm not giving you the pieces because I'm so scared of how the remaining ones will be lost. You see, when you've given away so much of yourself, the thought of letting anyone else take you is a terrifying thing. You see, there's not much of me left to give. You see, there are days when I tell myself the lonely isn't so lonely. The lonely is nice. Being alone doesn't mean I'm lonely necessary. You see, there are days when I try to convince myself that if I flip through every single dictionary, I won't see my face underneath the term lonely. You see, there are days when I tell myself, you're not lonely, you're not alone, you're just by yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. You see, there are days when 3 a.m. doesn't seem like the constant state of my mind. You see, there are days when deserted streets don't feel like they fill my entire body. You see, there are days when I want to show you what my night sky is made of. There are days when I want you to be the astronomer to my constellations. But I can't show you my stars, and I'm so sorry for that. When the lonely begins to weigh on you so heavily, you begin to mistaken yourself for it. And so, instead of going, hi, and saying your real name, you say, hi, my name is Lonely, nice to meet you. And you become scared that other people become just as alone if you go near them. You become scared that you will desert people. You become scared that you are the desert and people are just the walkers amongst you, and you don't want anyone to feel the way you do. You see, I am alone because I am scared that I will make you lonely. So the next time you ask me why I don't talk that much, I won't tell you of how the lonely seems to steal my words and tuck it up its sleeves. I won't tell you of how every time you talk to me, my words seem to break within themselves. I won't tell you of how many times, how much effort it takes to take every word out from the guts and the bottom of my being to present them to you because I'm so scared of them. I won't tell you of how every time you talk to me, it feels like you're talking to someone behind me, or that you're going to leave me any second. I won't tell you how every time you speak, I feel like I'm listening to you from underwater. I won't tell you how lonely I am. Instead, I will ask you that if a lost spaceship explodes in space and no one's around to hear it or see it, who is it exploding for? Instead, I will ask you, does it make sense to search for stars in the daylight when you know that they're there, but you know you'll never see them? Will you keep searching? Instead, I will ask you, what use is it to scream when you know that no one, nobody will ever listen?